were given not yet, not many projects, but this time I'm working in this design thinking where we have to develop a app prototype.
Okay.
Uh,
Nice.
an- Another one, we have a few more subjects where projects are required,
Nice.
uh, but not
Because
many like.
I have no idea of this project and thing because I'm still in my
Yeah.
last term of foundation. That's why.
Oh, okay, okay, good. It's good. Like diploma is still the biggest mountain, I would say, in our
Yeah,
course.
diploma is where like I hear that diploma is where you start getting some realistic projects and all.
Yes, yes, exactly. And in degree level, maybe some professors will even ask you to come to their campus, maybe work on projects
Okay.
together. So you have those opportunities as well. Uh,
So like you are in your last term and there is some I hear the apprenticeship going on in the BS degree.
from
BS.
from BS level, like I am in BSc's last term, so BS level will come after this.
Yeah, that's from BS or BSc. Yeah.
Yes, yes. So,
Don't worry, Kunal will reach there like in no moment. Like, he's the first person to graduate from BSc.
no, no,
Yeah.
I'm just going at whatever pace I started with.
Kunal, you are very humble.
How many courses are in? You have to do 7 courses. Like this is turning to a academic
Yeah,
session. But anyways, there are 7 courses in BSc level, and like 28 credits for BSc and 28 for BS level, like each.
so Kunal will give an extra session for everyone who have doubts regarding BS
No,
level,
no.
BSc level.
It
He
might
can
get
do
boring.
that. He's the secretary of our house. He can like in just a snap of a hand can organize these kinds of sessions.
No,
Right?
no, please stop hyping all of this. Let's just let the speakers do the talking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
By the way, how excited are you guys for today's session? Because I am really excited. I did not in my dreams thought like I'll meet Sir, to be honest. And I am. We are going to talk to him today. We have already always seen him on TV. So how excited you are?
I'm very excited because I used to this was my
Yeah.
morning routine before school. I used to watch FAQ and go to school there.
Same here.
Yeah.
That
This
was the thing. Like before, even virtual teacher was something like he was our very cool and first virtual
yeah.
teacher. And it was very actually cool, the kind of stuff he used to do on TV. And even right now, the kind of things that Sir is doing in creative industry or marketing or branding, it's
Yeah, yeah.
actually really cool. And you will get to know a lot more about what he's doing and how he's doing in today's session. So I am actually really, really excited about. And guys, spread the words here, the link in all your groups and everywhere. And we'll start with, hi, Sir, good evening.
Hi, sir.
Hi, how are you doing?
I'm great.
I'm
We are great. Yes,
Good to see
Kunal.
you all.
welcome to Sundarban's house, sir. IITM.
Yes, it's
Uh,
fantastic to be here. Thank you for having me over.
we're just waiting for a few participants. Actually, we were waiting for you mainly.
Yeah,
So
no, this Zoom asked me for like a password, and I was suddenly like, wait, hang
Yeah,
on,
it's
I have a password,
you
sir.
because
Ah!
uh,
So,
I guess, sir, I hope there wasn't any problem if like joining outside organization or something. There wasn't any error.
Mhm.
no,
because we
So
all have to mail, right?
usual Zoom
sometimes,
things. That's
yes,
fine.
so sometimes that gives an error. Uh, Madhu, I guess we can start because we are already live streaming on YouTube. We have some viewers there as
Yeah.
well. We have some viewers here, so maybe we can just start, sir. Is that okay? Are you ready for
Let's do
starting?
this. Let's do this. It's
Okay,
fine to see
okay,
your
okay.
faces.
Thank
So
you.
it's fine.
Madhu, please start off. Like over to you.
Yeah, my pleasure. Thank you so much, sir, for joining in. We are beyond excited to have you. We were just talking about how we used to watch FAQ, and we are seeing your work right now, and it's so amazing. Like whatever you are doing, it's so inspiring. So let's begin the session formally because we are already 5 minutes late, and we have so much to ask. And uh, we are so happy to have you here with us today. Sir, as we remember, was the scientist at the lab of FEQ, which we used to watch as kids. And like we have all considered him as our very first and virtual science teacher who used to be very cool and is very cool right now. Sir is doing a lot of much cooler and creative things right now, which we are going to talk about in today's session. Prateek sir is right now the founder and creative director at Trip Creative Services, which is a multiple award-winning communication design house. Sir is an animator, producer, director, designer, cinematographer, and whatnot. So has been awarded with Times 40 Under 40 2022. I mean, there is so much that Sir does. It will be really difficult for me actually to summarize it in just an introduction, but we will try to get more into that, what he does, how he does, and all those super amazing things during our conversation with him. So without any further ado, welcome sir to IITM PS degree. I can tell you how happy we are to have you. Thank you so much for joining us.
Once again, thank you so much for having me over. Thank you for the really lengthy intro. I should sort of delete things online. But no, having said that, thank you so much for having me over.
Yeah, and I still missed a lot of things, so it was not a very lengthy intro. Let's begin with the questions. Let's dive right into it. Can we start, sir?
Yes, please.
Okay. So like I said, like you are a founder and creative director at Trip Communication Design Creative Services. So I went through the website of Trip Creative Services, and when you open it, it says we are Monkey, we are Kira, we are Creative, we are Jugaad, we are Trip. Like the website of Trip Creative Services itself in a masterpiece. There is everything starting from videos, animation, AR, VR, graphics, branding, and everything else that you need. And I just wanted to know what inspired you to create this company, and like what kind of projects do you work on, because there's so much there in the website.
Okay, so first of all, thank you for going through the website and seeing the kind of work that we've been doing over the past decade or years. Um, so I started off as a communication designer, right? And I'm still a communication designer. And what ended up happening was that at some point we were all working in television, and we were working for television and creating different sorts of show packagings, little idents and different deliverables for the television medium and different networks and channels for that. So me and a very close friend of mine and senior from my alma mater, National Institute of Design, Aviral, decided to get together. And because we were like deep fried and well done, we were like, okay, we've had enough of this rubbish TV that's going on. We want to do something different, and we want to do something like something hatke. So that's when Trip started. That was the birth of Trip, because we wanted to do something else. We wanted to build a whole new journey, right, for people to come and visit and probably get acquainted with the madness that is within our brains. So that was the long and short of it. And of course, we started off with projects which were for television and for television networks. In fact, one of the first few projects that we did was for FAQ. The in-show graphics for FAQ were a part of that as well. So they were different things that we wanted to bring in. And then we realized, because obviously we're visual communication designers, right? So we do a lot of spectrum of those things. So we decided, okay, hum sab kuch karenge. You name it, and we're going to do it. So that was the spirit with which this all began.
And you are doing everything with so much creativity and grace. I love the content that you guys are working on. As you said, like I went through the website, it's so amazing, and I'll recommend it to everyone. And it's such an inspiration to like all the web developments on it. Kunal himself works on like designs and websites, and I sent him the website, and we are like awe with in the website that you have created. It was really great.
Thank you. So it's been done by Pranoy, my team lead. He's my tech lead actually
Okay.
for all things fun. And he's actually like, how if we were Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, he would be my Donatello. Or if we were in Asterix and Obelix, he'd be my Getafix. So whichever way you want to look at it. So he's the gentleman brain behind it. I just help him mold the larger direction of things to make it in a particular sort of look, feel, and that's the vision that we want to follow. Versus it's these gentlemen actually who are running the show. So yeah.
Great shout out to Pranay sir also, like he did a great job. And while going through the website only, I found out about Folktales of India. You are the producer and creative director of Folktales of India also, which is a multi-award winning animated series. I don't know how many times I have to add like multi-awarded things. And for those who don't know, actually, Folktales of India is a YouTube series which showcases the rich variety of folk tales and lore from all over the Indian subcontinent. There's stories from Ladakh, Karnataka, Odisha, Maharashtra, and every other state. But I'm from Bihar, and the one I loved the most was the Heavenly Flying Elephant of Bihar, which is a story about Bhagalpur, from where I live very close to. So, how did you come up with Folktales of India, and what was the motivation, and how did you guys actually select all those stories?
Okay, so this is so nice to hear. The motivation is you, right? Like there's a story which is very close to where you live that has been brought to the forefront. That's pretty much what we were going with, right? हमारा यही सोच विचार था कि भारत में in India there's so many stories to be told. There's different, every few kilometers you go, the dialect changes, the demograph changes, the storytelling changes, and we just wanted to bring that to the fore. Yeah, we were like, look, we talk about Russian folk tales, we talk about European folk tales, Czech folk tales, we talk about folk tales from the Red Indians. But when it comes to India, we were limited to Amar Chitra Katha and Panchtantra, and all of these. They're fantastic bodies of work. Don't get me wrong; they're brilliant bodies of work. But the tales which are of the people, so to speak, and more contemporary. And when I say contemporary, last few hundred years. So those kind of tales is something that we wanted to bring more light to. So going with that is where we decided that, okay, let's go with this in terms of an idea. And what being a visual comms design house, again, right, for us, animation is a very important part of it, and India has so many art forms as well. So we wanted to then highlight the art form of that particular region as well, carrying the story. So hence you have a folk tale which is from a particular region, having its own art style and storytelling medium utilized as a package that's given. So that was the line of thought behind it. And then it's just that of course बनाया है, तो then वो एक बार गाड़ी चालू हो जाती है, तो then you're like, अच्छा बंद कैसे करें, अब तो चालू हो गई है. So now which is taking it as where it goes, and because there's so many tales. So we're just totally building on it and going there. And in terms of curation, how did we select those stories? Well, it's a long and tedious process. Every director who's directed this story for me or for Trip, right, like for the company or for the channel of the series, has pulled their hair at some point, because I've just been like, no, but we can come up with a much more exciting story. What's the moral? How can we build this? And so selection has been tough. I mean, we've gone through hundreds, if not more, of lore to bring it together. But हाँ, किताब तो लिख सकते हैं, मतलब उतना इतना है. So yeah.
और ये अभी भी चल रहा है, because I just went through the YouTube and 10 दिन पहले एक नया episode आया है Folktales of India का, and I'll highly recommend it to everyone. Go watch it. You will find something that you can relate to. Like I related to the story of Bihar that I saw. You will definitely relate to like many of those stories, and you will just feel very good about it. So yeah, please go through it. So you create like a lot of content, starting from short stories, documentaries, YouTube series, animations, and whatnot. What is like your favorite kind of content that you like to experience? Which
Anything
will
that engages me. Anything that engages
yeah.
me. So I'm not driven by a particular medium. If I find it engaging, I have, and I kid you not, I've actually spent many hours staring at a wall. um, so yeah, so it's anything that engages you, right? At the end of the day, like there are people, in fact there are character designers who actually take inspiration by textures that you get on a wall or on a rock surface or on a tile, and build characters out of that, right? So for me, content is anything that I perceive as any one of my senses, pretty much getting inspired. So yeah, so anything, yeah, like that's not very not very hard and fast की like मुझे डाली का काम बहुत पसंद है, या फिर मुझे रवि वर्मा का काम बहुत पसंद है. Like it's like सब अच्छा है, all is good.
I think great, but it should involve animation, I think, because there's so much animation related to your work. For us, it's like everything that is easygoing, that is soothing to eyes, aesthetic, and like is relatable is what we love to experience, and that's what I have saw in most of your content. So yeah, it has been great experience for me, like viewing your content.
Thank
So
you.
yeah, and you talked about designing, right? So for all the designers, we have a lot of graphic designer in our own institute who design the website for IITM, or like particular house website or anything, or like poster designing and graphic designing in general. How did you start your journey in design or digital art in general? What was your first gig, and who were your inspirations in this field?
Also, inspirations again, like I said, is both tangible, intangible. We've been lucky enough. I'm a product of the National Institute of Design, Ahmedabad, which is a multidisciplinary institute, which means that me being as an animator was allowed to use a lathe machine, which was meant for the more tangible disciplines. So it wasn't like restricted only to product design or furniture design, guys. Anybody from any discipline could do anything, right? So that was the openness of it. Like, I did a bandhani workshop. I was learning how to make glass. I made my own, we worked on the kiln and made our own glassware. Made a bamboo raft one evening because we were like, okay, let's see if this thing floats. What happens to the capsules inside? The air pockets that are inside the bamboo, and so on and so forth. So the reason I'm trying to round it back to how the design inspiration happens. This inspiration is all out there, and for me, I have always tried to be consistently inspired by even the smallest of things, right? So it's not just about the mega things; it's also the small things that inspire. In terms of how did the journey begin, my first design would probably have been when I was a kid. I'd seen a James Bond film, and I decided I'm going to design my own layer. So I was building like this one massive layer. How my first gig would have probably been working with Hangama TV. I think Hangama TV was one of my earliest gigs. Oh no, before that was with Deepak Pathania, right? So Design Intervention. That was the company that I was working with, and we made these promos which never went on air for Channel V. Which was meant for like don't drink and drive, and I'd created this whole character who actually looked like a camel who had sort of morphed into a bike, and he was like a fun chill bloke, and basically at the end of every, I'd done 3 episodes, small short 30 seconders, in which at the end of everything he goes and crashes into something. So it's like basically don't drink and drive, watch your signs, read the road signs, blah blah blah. So like public service announcements. So that was my first paid gig. Yeah. So I think that's that. And in terms of in terms of inspirations and for the designers out there, I think all I can just say is that, guys, just don't get jaded. Keep exploring. Just keep exploring as much as possible. Yeah.
So like this is my question, like does your design change with the audience that you are dealing with? uh like you
Yes.
said it does. Okay, how
So
and what are
let's
it?
so style, right? Like what you talk about is particular a designer's style of doing things. One thing that you learn is that the kind of content that I would create for television or for OTTs or film or a corporate client, right? Like a or even in corporates, a Google versus a cybersecurity major versus a like an industrial major. All of these guys, everybody that I mentioned, has a different way of functioning and a different target audience that they're hitting out to. Even though they're all the same people, but it's different personas that have been built. So yes, for every project, for every brief, there is a different approach that is utilized. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, makes sense.
Yeah.
um yeah, not many people know, but you were a visiting faculty at National Institute of Design for almost 3 years. So how was your experience being a professor?
So I was definitely not a professor. That's like fairly like बड़ा लोग like sir मैं छोटा सा एक इंसान हूँ types. But I was taking for 3 years this course called motion graphics, which is a very integral part of packaging, and in terms of packaging for motion and so on and so forth, even channels, networks, and so on and so forth. So it was amazing. It was a if I'm not mistaken, it was a 2 week course every year, and it was for the fourth years, the final year students. And it was fun, yeah, because like I'd gone back to the alma mater, so you have these memories of ki, like humne, because we again, like we studied how to animate on a light box, right, on paper. Like we used to literally have 4 sheets of paper, draw something, then change sheet, draw something, then check timing, right? Like that's how we worked on. And nowadays everybody's on like these Procreate and all these softwares and then their tabs and whatnot. And the other day I got a punch. I'm sorry, I'm deviating, but I got a punch. I don't know. A punch is basically the light box has a peg bar. On that peg bar is where you place the sheets, right? And this has a special punch in it. And I got one punch, which was a hand me down, from which I found out was from Arnab Chaudhary. And Arnab Chaudhary was, I mean, unfortunately passed away, but very early in life also. But he was one of the greatest Indian, filmmakers, animators. He's also the guy who directed Arjun. He was ex-creative director of one of the biggest networks in India. So, I mean, and I found out that, holy shit, I have his punch, right? And I get into office all like, haha, guys, I have Arnab Chaudhary's punch. And everyone's like, dude, what is this? Like, what is that? So I was like, oh man, like nobody even knows what a punch is anymore. So anyway, circling back, it's always fun because there's new technologies, there's new things to be explored, but at the same time the fundamentals remain the same, right? And that is something which was a lot of fun, and it was very refreshing. So yes, but of course it wasn't a linear class. Unfortunately, nothing with me is linear. It always goes and all over the place. So yeah.
Great. No, like you said, like fundamentals always remain the same. So if like we get to learn those things the way you used to do it, we will love to learn that. We will love being your students for sure. And I am pretty sure your students loved your class. So you said you work for corporate, you work for different channels and everything. Can you share one particularly memorable project or campaign that you worked on and what made it so special?
Also, one campaign that I've really loved working on is the launch of the Skoda Kushaq. So their new SUV, which is one of India's safest vehicles, and even when we were shooting it, so okay, so we were tasked with launching the car for India, right? So in terms of they actually launched it, so the big boys, the manufacturers did, but we had to create like the films, the overall launch campaign, and we worked with 70 EMG, which is another big event company, and Skoda to create this, right? So what the reason why it is so memorable is because you're not allowed to take the car outside the factory. So you have to create all these scenarios in which the car is doing all these fantastic things, but you can't take the car outside the factory. So it was a beautiful design challenge on its own. Second point was that we were working in two very different sizes. So we usually, when we're shooting, we shoot 16:9, which is this frame that we're seeing in Zoom right now, right? But for one of the launches, the actual physical launch in which they show the car coming out and there's fanfare and all of that, our resolution was 9:1, which is literally like that. But it's in a massive screen, right? So it's like a 150 odd foot screen in which the cars come out of. So we literally had to design two films with the same idea and content in a very short period of time. At the same time, getting approvals from the Indian guys, the Czech guys, the German guys, and COVID going on in the middle of all of this. So it was a very, very exciting time in which everybody is working from home, or in slight hybrid mode, and we're going crazy. Our laptops were burning because of the amount of rendering that was going on. The render farms were burning. Everything was burning. So so it was just exciting. It was a very, very memorable launch.
Do you want to share how did you like advertise the product? What ad did you design? Maybe.
Yeah, there was this can I play it actually? Oh no, it'll
You
lag.
can.
Lag on Zoom. No, it'll lag on
Okay.
Zoom. But it's the one in which there's lights, lots of lights, and the Kushaks are coming together. It says the king is here. That's one. There was also the AR VR filters of Kushak, which now I think they've replaced, but they're still on our website.
Okay.
So the launch AR VR, there was a whole AR campaign in which everybody was like, "Oh, I'm stuck in COVID, but here you can put this filter and show us where you can go." So that the marketing team had taken forward. We'd created the models for it, the AR models for it. Then going forward, we'd created the website, the launch website for these guys, and in the films, we'd also created the product film, which is there online as well. So it's a 2.5 minute product film. Then we created the ads for it also, the first set of ads that came out. So a lot of things, and then there were like 10, 15 other deliverables, which are like GIFs and this and that, and I was like, wow, too much fun.
Like, I'm so happy to see how excited you are about your work, and like not many people we meet are so excited to talk about their work. I'm so happy to see that. You said like 2 and 2.5 minutes product that you create. How much time does it take to like create a 2.5 hour minute product?
Also, a film of 2.5 minutes with the kind of complexity that we were working with a car, with actors, with with shoots, with COVID, with all of this thrown in, is fairly complex. But on a normal standing, and if things are normal like how they are right now, it's about a month's task, which we had to kind of compress into say 2 weeks with COVID going on. So it was exciting. It was interesting in its, but the overall project, the whole launch of it, I think was a 3-month project, which was pretty good because that had a lot of films and a lot of deliverables and so on and so forth. So yeah. And
Find that and we'll make sure that mentions so much and back to like creativity. I love your Instagram. I love your Instagram page. You work on this animation yourself, or how do you create stuff? Any favorite tool that you use?
So can you hear me? Can you hear me? Hello?
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. So to answer your question, in terms of the really funny animations that are happening on my Insta page right now, I use this app called Reface. Hello?
Yes, sir, go ahead.
Yes, sir, we
Yes,
can
sir.
hear you.
Okay, awesome.
We
Yeah,
can hear you. Yes, sir.
okay, so I use this app called Reface, which is this app which helps you do random things using AI to put your face on other things, or to lip sync and sing songs and all those random nuances. So that's currently what I'm amused with right now. So I use Reface a lot to do those, and certain things in terms of the actual imagery that is created, right? Like that I composite and play around with again as well. But most of these videos don't take me more than 5 minutes to make. And the reason I started doing that is because back in July last year, 2022, I had a back injury and I was bedridden for a while. So because of that, I said, okay, I'm getting bored. I have nothing much to do, so I might as well just play around and do these mad things with the phone and the app, and that's how it all started. And now I'm just enjoying it because the algorithm can be played, and I'm just enjoying playing the Instagram algorithm.
Great. And I hope abhi aap theek ho, like everything is fine with you and you're doing great with your health.
That was then. I mean, it started like that because I was bored, right? Like, what do you do? You're lying in bed. It's just like, you can't even sit with a laptop because you're like, okay, what is this strange angle? So yeah, so with the phone, that was doing everything. So yeah, it's fun.
No, those animations are great, to be honest. And Reface, you mentioned, we'll try that as well, for sure. And now coming back to science. Okay, so science is evolving so much right now. Like you had a kind of robot which we thought was a robot supporting you throughout the FAQ show,
Is
and
a
now
robot.
everyone has. Okay, so let's clear this first. Who was Crash? Is that a one single person working throughout the whole show as a Crash? Like, is that a character played by one person, or everyday Crash used to be changed? Can you like
Crash was a robot, is a robot. Crash will always
Is
remain. Even my crew is looking at me and like smiling, like they're like, dude, do you? No, Crash is a robot. All right.
okay.
Always be a robot, and he was my best
Asha.
friend. Yeah.
Okay. अब like हमने जो form circulate किया था ना, like half of the questions was, there were no particular question. Like, I love the show, I love Prateek sir, who was Crash, and these are kind of the reviews that we got through the form. So I hope सबके लिए answer clear हो गया. Who was Crash? Crash was a robot, sir's best friend, and he still is a robot and will be the robot of the future for us. Okay, so now everyone has a Crash. Let's say, no, not Crash. Crash is special. Everyone has Chat GPT, let's say, which is like kind of a personal assistant, helps you do stuff efficiently, helps you upskill. And but at the same time, it might be the reason behind like mass layoffs and people losing out their job in tech and whatnot. So what exactly is your take on the recent advancement in AI, and what are your views on the same? Do you love the AI? What are your views? Yeah.
Um, I'm I'm okay with AI as long as it's a tool, right? So as long as it's a tool, it's great. It's in fact fantastic. It's given wings to people who were previously incapable of doing certain things, right? For example, it's done fantastically in terms of scientific inquiry. It's done fantastically in terms of writing scripts. It's done fantastically in terms of law. So it's doing great. AI is doing fantastically in those senses. But the minute it starts trying to do art, it gets very plagiaristic. And that is the part which I'm not very convinced about yet, because if it was generating genuinely new art, which at least I haven't seen till now, and that would be amazing. But right now, what it's doing is it's taking things from here, there, and there, and it's just moshing it up into something, which becomes a little gray area for artists who have spent their life honing a skill, and then being left, in the doldrums, so to speak. Um, but having said that, look, we're at the industrial revolution of art right now, right? We're in that phase of the world, and AI is here to stay, whether you like it or not. So how do we use this tool? And that's, I think, what the pertinent question is. And that is something that we should be working towards in terms of how this tool can actually enhance an artist's experience. Like, how can you play with it without actually, without actually it becoming a hindrance or a sort of something that you do not want to deal with, and then feel कि मैंने किसी और का काम चोरी कर लिया, like वो एक problem है उसमें अभी. So, but that's only on the art front. In terms of design, in terms of I mean, I'll give you another really crazy example. Okay, for example, when we had to create mats of people, like if you wanted to kill my background, right? Like how right now your background is blurry, right? It's all this is happening is not like, okay, like some dude during our times when you were on TV, we had to manually sit down and cut these mats. Right now, there's scripts to be able to do this, and they're working, they're following certain parameters which make sure that even when you're moving, that it knows that the head is what it is following, right? This is fantastic usage. This is great usage. Now, this is just a very small example. uh, Obviously you can take this to the sky's the limit, but that's where, at some level, add machine learning to it, add some crazy algorithms into it which you lot are going to build, or like add some mad science to it, and you've got something very interesting going on. So yeah.
Great. So now Kunal is playing around, and someone said like Chat GPT ki maths or statistics bhi kharab hai. So that's what we do. We try to like give Chat GPT questions that cannot solve, and we have found its statistics is not good. Okay.
So you guys should
You said
actually
about
jam up with them.
yeah.
You should jam up with them. You should actually write to them
What
and
do we do?
jam. You should jam with them, jam up, or you should, what's the word?
Okay.
Liaison with them, probably.
Okay, you have to do that. Yeah. Graded assignment क्यों solve करते हो Chat GPT से? इसलिए नहीं मिलता graded assignment. Okay. You said about industrialization of creativity, and you did some stuff with NFT also. Let us know what exactly was it and like how did
Madhu, I
you
think
get into it?
yeah, I think you're turning into Crash, Madhu. Uh, your
Crash
your
was speak.
Is
your your voice is breaking up, Madhu.
Can you hear me now?
Uh, yes, but I think if like by the time you get like maybe your voice gets stabilized or something, I'll move on with the next question. I have the question with me, so I'll ask the next one. So, sir, like I personally am a lot like I have been involved in design and motion graphics and all for quite a long time. And like as we are on the topic of AI, I would like to ask how has like nowadays, as you mentioned, Reface, which you use to uh, upload photos or videos to Instagram. So how has AI and AI tools benefited your agency maybe to better, more efficiently work towards creating more products easily? And for example, like in the past, like even 2 years ago, like if I wanted to have a photo and I wanted to remove the background, I would go to Photoshop and like try to trace it out. Like hair was a big problem in removing the background, and also but now like there is like literally a single website that I use mostly. I just go upload my photo and it gives me a photo without a background. Like I even did it for you with the poster. So like I took your photo, sent it to that website, and it gave me a full clean cutout of your photo. So how has that helped you like in production?
Exponentially. We again, you actually have answered most of the question yourself, which is that even when it comes to video, right? Like even when we're working with say multiple layers, like I'm talking like 300, 400 layers of even trying to build dust particles for the tire turning in a car, and then there's dust that flows out of it, right? Stuff like that itself has also become generative, which is crazy because you're like, wow, this is तो मतलब हम क्यों यहाँ पे बैठ के physics कर रहे हैं? You know, the software is taking over on its own, and that has become quite exciting in its own angle. In terms of Reface, what it has done is it's become quick. I have a crazy idea, like I'm sitting for lunch or I'm just sitting for breakfast. I have a crazy idea. I'm like, okay, chalo isko banate hain. 5 minutes mein, I've worked out a Photoshop. I've figured out my composite photo, right? And I've put it together in using tools on the phone. I've not gone to Photoshop. Photoshop was the wrong word, but like the photo that I want to pick, using the tools on the phone, edit it together, put it on Reface, figured out what I want to say, recorded my own voice doing it, or recorded some other song clip, put it on top. Within 10 minutes, I have my video ready, yeah, which is funny. It's doing its stupid thing, and I'm having a good laugh. And then I continue with my work, which is, continuing the rest of the day. And in terms of the agency actually using it, the agency right now is using it primarily for the pipeline work, which is stuff that we're creating for shoots, stuff that we're creating for edits, like you said, like the sort of content aware fill things that we had to first build earlier on your own, it can now just be done using the technology. So in that sense, again, like I said, as long as it's a tool, two thumbs up, man. Don't let it become your overarching factor, right? Because the minute from a tool it becomes the only way you're thinking, then stress it. Where it's like, okay, you're losing your humanness, so to speak.
Okay, sir. And like to continue with this, like as you said, it takes up a lot of pipeline process. Like it helps in executing a lot of processes for your agency and even for you creating these videos. So, sir, how do you think this AI is going to have some impact on what designers do? Like, for example, I do it personally. Like, so is like, to what extent do you see AI or these tools replacing like seasoned designers? Like for example, like me, like I'm not that seasoned designer, but like I'm an average designer. So how can it replace me, or to what extent does it work? So like, what's your opinion on it?
Okay, loaded question, very loaded question. It's like, but okay, just okay. Let me simplify this. So when the industrial revolution happened, right? Like the actual industrial revolution in the 18th century, what happened was that the craftsmen, the people who were working with their hands, a lot of them lost their jobs, and a lot of them shifted into becoming industrymen, right? So that's when the revolution kicked in. But then the Art Nouveau movement uh, helped with uh, carrying those designs forward, but it's just that they became mass produced. So if we look at it in that essence, then art will continue doing what it's doing, because the brain is the human brain is a beautiful piece of machinery on its own, right? Like it's doing its own thing. So in that sense, it's always going to be fantastic. But the bottom line is that if you think you're going to become redundant, you're already redundant, right? But if you are on the thought process that, okay, I can, this could be like, I can evolve, improvise, adapt, overcome, right? Like if you can do that, then you're in a good space to take things forward. uh, in effect, we're always going to be redundant. Like right now, I can tell you for a fact that most of you will not know what a pneumatic tape is or a VHS-C tape is, right? But that is something that I have worked with and cut promos for when I was a young producer, right? Similarly, my father keeps telling me, "Oh, beta, you have never done a telegraph," right? And I was like, "Ha, मैंने money order भी नहीं भेजा है कभी." But you know, it's things that happen, and like they get pushed forward. So technology will keep evolving. It's gonna happen. It's been happening since man invented the wheel. Yeah. So it's a upward trajectory. We just have to make sure we're on the wheel. Yeah. I hope that helps.
Yes, so that
As vague as possible. So, yeah.
no, that was a good answer, and I hope Madhu is back from binary code.
I am. और मैंने सुना तूने मेरे को crash बोला, ठीक है? I'll remember that. And Kunal, being modest, Kunal, I am not a seasoned designer and whatever. He does all the graphic related work for us, and he's amazing, to be honest. The poster that was created for you was great. ऐसे ऐसे मत कर तू, ठीक है? तू बहुत अच्छा है. Okay, so yeah, he does really good work. And what I was asking when I was cut out because of my really bad internet, isko aaj hi hona tha. I was asking, there's one comment also, like, so you said you try to change your art according to your client, but every artist should have its mark. And I know for a fact that you were also invested in NFTs and stuff. So I just wanted to know your thought about, do you think NFTs are going to stay relevant, or like blockchain or cryptography in general, like crypto, whatever is going on right now, do you think it's going to stay relevant?
Okay, so two points. One, I'm a designer, right? So what ends up happening is when I'm working for clients, I'm creating pieces of communication, which might have art in them, and therefore the art changes as per what the requirement of the client is, because I am designing that communication. So my role in those things is very different. But what I'm doing on Instagram, for example, is me having a ball, right? That's art. That pretty much is staying, that changes as per my whims and fancies, correct? So if you say that if a artist should have his style, sure, but there's also a whole different school of thought called deconstructivism, and there's a whole school called Dada, which is another, like, it's excuse my French, but it says fuck art, right? Like it's like, let's just go and have a good time. So that's the human brain. So that's the way it works. So that's the first part of the answer. Now the second part, whether NFTs are going to be relevant or so on and so forth. So blockchain is a good idea. Cryptocurrencies, when they started, were a fantastic idea. They were, in fact, it was brilliant because they brought about a lot of process changes by the big institutions and by the big banking houses of the world, and in terms of even how simple interactions take place and so on and so forth. So what it did is it kind of springboarded the world into thinking a lot faster in terms of digitization, which was fantastic. But in terms of the smart contract, which is something that we should be carrying forward, is something that unfortunately is taking its own sweet time for people to adopt, because people are not yet clear on what Web3 means, right? And that's the little shift that is required. So it is, it's definitely there to stay, but in what form is something that is yet to be seen. So yeah, that would be my answer to that.
Yeah, and blockchain is actually relevant in terms of finance as we are seeing it right now. It's other applications, how are they going to grow and everything will pan out is what we are looking forward to. So yeah, that was actually good. Okay. I know like you and your team have done so much branding work for so many projects such as India Startup Stories, Into the Wild with Bear Grylls and Rajnikant, Baby Ragas, and many more. So, what according to you is the importance of branding? And I would love to know the importance of authenticity, storytelling, and creativity in branding content.
Okay, so branding is extremely important. It is what becomes your face, literally, right? Like it's how you present your thought, idea, concern, firm, your piece of whatever you want to build forward. And the brand is not just the logo unit or the brand identity, which is what usually people think it is, but it's also the whole language that you build around it. And that is something that becomes very important. And it's very simple. Yeah, it's even things like the way the text moves, right? A lot of people don't pay focus to typography as much as they should. But that's also me being a designer, so I want to just step out of that little role. But it's the line of thought that comes from it is that a brand is an extremely important part of what you're doing, right? But having said that, if your product is phenomenal, which is rare these days, but if it is a phenomenal product, then भाड़ में जाए brand यार. मैं तो like I'm going to go for like like I'm pretty sure you will go for the product rather, and the branding will be something that you will carry forward later, because then you have you have too much money, and then you're like, okay, look, I need to like now streamline the whole look and feel of everything, so then I will do that. And I know you guys are recording this, but please don't quote me on this ever. No, I'm joking. I'm completely joking. A brand is an extremely important part of what and how you build things. And it kind of differentiates you from the next person. Like, so how Kunal is a brand on his own. Madhu, you're a brand on your own, and you're going to be building these as your future personalities. So that's how pretty much how different organizations also try and look at themselves and stand out from their competition.
And how important is authenticity in there? Like,
authenticity, I would love for it to be extremely important. We started Trip because we were deep fried and well done with the kind of rubbish that we had to do. I mean, we were making music videos with scantily clad women and doing all this, usual uh, Bollywood rubbish. And then we got bored of it, and then we said, look, we can't do this anymore. Let's a little bit more authentic in terms of the kind of content that we want to put out there. So for me, from talking from a Trip perspective or from my personal perspective, for me, authenticity is extremely important. Uh, but there is a gray area. There's always a gray area, right? And that's the gray area that pretty much becomes the sort of defining point as to how much are you willing to push it forward. So yeah, authenticity is. I don't know. You tell me. Yeah, what do you think? Whoa, she's frozen. Is she? I think she is. Yeah, I can see Bhairavi laughing. And
Yes, I think.
figuring.
I think. I think now our system hanged or something.
I think authenticity was the point at which it went.
Yes.
I am
Yes,
like
sir.
so done with my network. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah. Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. Like, I'm like so done with my network. I'm very sorry, sir. And it's very sorry to everyone. I'm like, I don't know what's happening with my network today only. And Yes, we were talking about authenticity. And can you guys still hear me?
Yeah, I
Yes.
answered the question. I answered the question, and I said like, okay, you tell me what is authentic.
Okay. So I'll tell you what authentic content means to us. Like for myself, if something is not authentic, I wouldn't go for it. For example, I don't connect with a lot of things that I don't feel relevant to, or I can see fascism in it and I don't connect with it and I don't watch it, or I just skip out of it. And I don't know, that was very sudden. I'm sorry, sir. I don't have any exact answer for it. Kunal, you take over. You tell us what authentic content means to you.
Uh, uh, I don't know, like in for if I'm talking about branding, then I guess for me authenticity is more related to a person, maybe rather than some product or a company. So like, sir,
Hmm.
Trips website, and you have done some graphic design works for Bollywood celebrities, and also I guess when you are doing that, so like whenever you are representing someone, so like they should, like they have to be real to themselves. For example, you created some music videos for like a lot of people. I saw that section as well. So even when you're doing that, then whatever is being shown inside of the music video, for example, maybe some small animations, or for example, I saw a rap music video for Nazy, which you did, I think. So for example, when you are doing those animations, then those animations should stick with the personality of the person that is in the video. For example, you cannot put unicorns or something in a rap video, so that would
It would
not.
be fun though. If the rap video was about like I don't know Ireland, no Scotland. Scotland's national animal is the unicorn. No, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, I think so. So they have a
so,
imaginary
so
national animal.
I, so yes, maybe that could work, but uh, that way, like when you see it at first, uh, normally people don't do it. So maybe yes, like that is the answer for me. Like
Also,
I'm,
पता चल जाता है like also पता चल जाता है कि क्या authentic content है क्या नहीं है देखने से भी तो वो बहुत मैटर करता है. So yeah, for us, authentic content is being relevant and being true to itself. Okay, moving on. Another question, like there are so many things you are working on right now, and I know for sure, like I have missed many things that you are working on or have worked, like Animators Guild of India. I would really like for you to tell us more about those things that I missed and how we as a students can part of this amazing community of creative people that you and your team are involved with.
Okay, so yes, it's great that you brought about Animators Guild of India because it is something which is very close to a lot of hearts. So, for those of you who do not know, Animators Guild of India is a community that we started to get all artists, animation professionals, and people who practice animation or are part of the animation pipeline together, right? And with this, we started an online magazine which is on www.animatorsguild.com, which I should know by heart, but I am just double checking. Yeah, it's animatorsguild.com, right? So that's the website, and that's where we started this online magazine. It actually started as a WhatsApp group in 2017, then became this website, and then in last year in November we actually did an on-ground film festival in Mumbai, in which we got people from all over the world to come and get together and actually talk about animation and about the fun things that we're doing together. Because the long story short of it is there are about 30,000 animators and animation professionals out there in India, estimated to be about 2.5 to 3 lakhs, but there are 30,000 professionals, and there is no one singular body which has got all of them together. So the line of thought here was to just create a community in which everybody can just take care of each other, because also the arts and design are one of the most exploitative fields. So the idea was to just have some safeguards so that everybody can just be together and push Indian animation scene forward, right? Because we do so much of great work, we do so much of kick-ass work, but जब भी अगर कोई भी एशिया के बारे में बात करता है, we always go to Hong Kong or we go to Japan, right? Like so, it's like भाई भारत भी तो है. सो वो उस एंगल से भी एक था कि भाई टू शोकेस कि भारत में भी बहुत काम हो रहा है, भारत अफिलिएटेड लोग जो हमारे आर एक्सपैट्स एज वी वुड कॉल देम आर आल्सो देयर, या लाइक डूइंग सम ग्रेट वर्क अब्रॉड एज वेल. So yeah, that's one of the exciting things.
Okay, one more question that we got on the form that was quite interesting was like, do you watch anime? Very random question, but there it was.
Yes, we do. We do. Matlab, I do. I watch a lot of we. The reason I said we is because I don't have much control on the TV anymore in life. But yes, I do watch a lot of anime. In fact, I'm going to be starting with Chainsaw Man, I think next week, if I'm not mistaken, because I don't have the time to watch it. But I'm a huge fan of Attack on Titan. Huge fan of the Fortress, the Iron Fortress. I'm a huge fan of Ayakashi. I'm a huge fan of. I can keep going on. So yeah, so Death Note. So yeah, lots of anime and yeah, staple.
Great, we got an answer that also. Personally, I don't watch it, so I don't know what are the name of the series that you mentioned, but it's okay. And yeah, and we are running short of time, so okay, so no more questions. I think Kunal, we should wrap up, right?
Uh, yes, and like maybe we have one or two questions, but sir, firstly, like even on YouTube, people, I just want to read out a few things which people are saying. They are just like FAQ
Yeah.
fans, and who remembers Crash, and sir, love you. You are my true idol. Please, you are my childhood hero. Love to see you here. And there is a just lot of great comments about you, sir. Even like we asked them to ask questions, and everyone was like, "This is my childhood hero. I'm here to meet sir." So that was mostly what we received. Sir, one thing which is I think important for a lot of people is one question is, I am a beginner, so can you give me a roadmap to be good in this field? Like how do people start? That is one very important question which we found.
In the field of design, well, an extremely important thing to do is keep exploring, right? The more you explore, the more you'll actually find out who or what you are as a designer, and what your core strengths are and how you can build those further. So in terms of a roadmap, what I'd recommend is just keep exploring. Once you say, for example, you like animation, all right, or you like graphic design a lot, or you like motion graphics a lot, or you like AR a lot, or you're into experiential media, which is XR, and so on and so forth. Just keep exploring, because the important thing here is that for the first decade of you being a professional, the more interdisciplinary explorations that you have done, the stronger your suit is going to be a leader moving forward. But that is coming from a visual communication designer. From the perspective of you being an expert in a particular field, I wouldn't know, because I'm not one. So, but from somebody who's a jack of all trades and pretty much like a slave of one, I would say that explore is what you should definitely be doing.
uh, and I think we are just short of time, and we had like
Yeah.
it's it's like if we ask questions now, it would be much faster time. So um, I think we should just
Ask,
wrap up now.
ask two more. I don't mind taking. I have my next one slotted for 7:15, so I'm pretty solid. We can do two more.
Okay, so sir,
Go ahead.
just
Oh,
one more,
great,
Yeah.
just
great.
one more,
Yeah.
just one more
Yeah.
question. So uh, one more is like as sir, we are a data science course mostly. Like we are and most of us are right now studying data science courses. So sir, one question is, how do you think data science is relevant to cinematography these days? Like whenever you're making, do you go through some data, or is there any um, uh, data sets that you go through, like for example studying about cultures or making some movies or something? So how do you utilize data?
Okay, so I'll talk of this from a cinematography perspective. From a film perspective, yes, we get a lot of data. In fact, there are certain specific industrial tasks that we're working on in which we have to use the data, because that is what the final outcome of the film will be dependent on. So that becomes extremely important for that. But from a cinematography perspective, say for example, if I have to go and shoot a place, right? We always do a recce first. We first find out कि अच्छा sunrise कहाँ से होता है, set कहाँ से होता है, वो shot कितने बजे पे लेना चाहिए, उस shot पे sun का angle क्या होगा, मुझे light कैसी मिलेगी, shadows कैसे लगेंगी, lights कहाँ पे डालनी है, lights कैसे रखेंगे, फिर बंदा जो actor है या फिर अगर actor नहीं है, जो भी protagonist है, could be a dog, could be a prop, could be a car, could be whatever, right? उसको कैसे place करेंगे, तो which will I get the right angles of those lights from, the kind of filters that I need to use, because will I get the bounce glare on of the light onto my lens? So am I going to be using filters? What am I going to be doing, right? Then different cameras have different sort of a feel to the kind of output they give. Like a Sony range of cameras, or a Canon range of cameras, or a Arri range of cameras, or say Blackmagic range of cameras. All of these guys, right? They all have their own set of color spectrums that they follow, and their sensors catch color in a particular way. So this is all the data, and this is the tip of the iceberg, right? Like, so this is all the data that we have to go through and sift through before we get to the point at which we say that, okay, now this is what we're going to do, and this is how we're going to go ahead and shoot. So and this is just from the cinematography perspective. There's a whole directorial set of data that needs to follow as well, which is how is the shot looking, why is it angled this way, who are the people in it, what are they wearing, what are they styled as, what am I trying to communicate, what is this scene that I'm creating, how does this fit in the larger narrative, is there a need for it to fit in the larger narrative? There's so many times when we've shot these beautiful scenes, and then when we're finally sitting on the edit table, we're like, yeah, nahi, maza nahi aa raha, isko nikal do, right? And this is after us following the whole process of doing a paper cut. Paper cut being like, when you do a storyboard and you put it on an animatic, and then you put the sound to it to just see how the film will overall look. After all of that, and after all those approvals, you're like, "Nee, maza nahi aaya, chalo nikal do." So data is an extremely integral part of our lives. And this is just the surface level stuff. I mean, there's core data in terms of the demographics, personas, people, the kind of content they consider authentic, to the kind of content they consider even watchable, and so on and so forth. So data is good, it can be your friend, but again, when it comes to creativity, don't let it overwhelm you, because data can't drive creative decisions. If that happened, then you would never have ads like uncle ye petrol mileage kitna deti hai, ya fir like Dravid's ad of him saying ki, like, is my raja kaun, like, whatever, he's standing on the top of the car, was for one of the brands which name I can't take. So on and so forth. So things like that, right? So don't let that overrun creativity, but it is definitely a good friend to have.
And sir, one last question to wrap up everything is, how do you look at all the days with Crash?
I didn't understand that. How do I
How
look
do
at?
you how do you look back at all the days with Crash?
So Crash was too much of fun. Yeah, it was too much of fun. We had actually tied up with the Bhabha Institute and with the IIT Bombay robotics team to build certain parts of that entity, and the rest of it was the magic of television. So it was always exciting being with Crash, because when we thought of the series, right? I'd come into the series when it already had been thought of primarily by Pogo, and I'd come in, and which at a point at which they needed somebody who could be as energetic and carry the whole thing forward. And then we deliberated on the fact that whether Prateek, it's going to be Prateek +1, Prateek 0. Is there going to be a female co-host? Is there going to be, the Mr. Kholkar coming in, which is Saurabh Pant, or is it going to be like, how are we going to build this? And then we decided, no, for kids to learn something, we need to break something. And how do you break something without actually getting, like human rights activists onto you? So the idea was to just put a crash test dummy, and that's when I designed it along with Deepak Pathania, who's my senior and of course my mentor and a great personality on his own, who then helped build a lot of it along with this whole team of people. So crash was amazing because there were times at which we wanted it to crash, right? But it wouldn't do it. And there were times at which we wanted the gag to happen at a particular time, but then the science wouldn't allow us to do it because that chemical reaction would just not take place. So you're sitting in this AC room because you've tested this out in the actual lab and you're like, okay, sodium's going to do this. Sodium does that. It has to do it. And then when you reach this slightly humid AC largest room, the damn thing refuses to react. So you're like, okay, now take number 15 and देखिए ये reaction. And there's one crash going, what? Nothing just happened here. So the fun of television and filmmaking was always exciting.
Yeah. So that was the last question, or can we continue? Like, it's totally up to you.
10 more minutes. I have 8:15 is the next one. So we're on 8:03.
Okay. Let's then end it because I think there are people who would love to say hi or like something to you in the audience. We can give that time to them. First of all, you met me and Kunal. You haven't met Bharvi. Like you said, like she was smiling from the back. She was also, we three were on it to have the session, and we organized the session. So Bharvi, do you want to say hi to sir and anyone who can like wants to talk to sir? Like we have 5 more minutes and then we'll end the session. Say hi, thank you, whatever you want.
You can just raise your hand or and we'll ask you to unmute.
Yeah, first Bharvi and then we'll follow
Yeah.
up.
So
Yeah.
I'd like to, so first of all, thank you so much for joining us today. For me personally, FAQ is associated with summer vacations because that was like the only time of the year when we used to get to watch television for like unlimited hours and at any time of the day. And I remember me and my younger sister being like really excited. So thank you for all those moments. And secondly, sir, it's very difficult to create the kind of the kind of mark you've created in all our memories. I guess it's because of your authenticity, the word you used in today's session. So that's something we get to learn from you, because it's very difficult to create a mark on someone's memory which remains for so long. Like it must have been more than 10 to 11 years since the last time I watched FAQ, but I was still so excited when Madhu told me, Prateek sir aa rahe. I was like, wow, this is going to be so much fun. And so you brought so much of information to us today. And the only word which would justify gratefulness is this one word we have. Thank you. So thank you so very much, sir, for joining. Thanks a lot.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for the kind words. Thank you for watching. Thank you for being the champions of industry and so on and so forth. And thank you for everything. That's I think from a team's perspective also, I'm pretty sure like the whole team would be really happy to know that we made a mark, because edutainment was something that we always gunned for even back then. So thank you.
Yeah, anyone else who wants to talk to sir, they can raise their hand. They are like typing only. Thank you. Okay, great. Kunal, do you want to say something before we end?
No, just again, like I would like to repeat the same thing. Thank you, sir, and thank you for giving so much of knowledge. And for someone like me, when someone just speaks about design, I'm just sitting like staring and just listening, like because I enjoy it so much. So thank you for sharing it. And unfortunately, we cannot have one big session right now because for talking just about technical details of design, but that if we are able to come up with something like that, we will be very thankful or grateful to invite you again.
Yeah, for sure.
Yes, sounds like a plan. Let's do it.
Yeah? Oh my god. Great, let's do it. Plan it out अच्छे से.
Schedule like
So also on behalf of all those people who couldn't join the Zoom session but are sending you all the love on YouTube, all of them are like FAQ wale bhaiya, ye, sending you lots of hearts and fire emojis.
Yes. Okay, I want to thank you अच्छे से for especially, so again my turn. thank you so much for joining us today. I mean, like, it is like one of the best conversations I have had, and I will say it with all my heart. Like, you were one of the coolest person that I knew when I was growing up, and you are still one of the most coolest person I know. And like, never in my dreams I thought that the person I used to watch on TV, I would get the chance to interact with you, and this is how it will go on. It was so great talking to you, sir. I couldn't be more grateful to you for joining us today, and from everyone, thank you so much. Thank you. Yeah.
Thanks, guys. I'm truly humbled and honored to be here, and thank you so much for the kind words.
Thank you. And I think we are up for the time.
Yes.
We will try to plan another session. If you have time, please do try to come. We will love to have you again. Thank you. And I hope you also enjoyed the session. Good night,
Definitely.
sir.
See you all. Take care. Have a good one, and stay in touch. Ta-da.
Bye.
Bye.
Oh my God. You did it. Right?
Mm.
Are you guys
Wonderful.
please? My network is bad. My net's bad.
Maybe we
Yeah.
can hear you. Such an awesome session, yeah.
We'll ask them to
Yeah, it was so much fun.
stop the live stream, I guess.
Yeah. Please. Okay, live stream is still going on. I think the usual thing, we have to leave and then sir will stop as and when. Thank you so much for joining in, and the people who are watching us live, thank you. I hope you enjoyed the session. Stay connected because we are going to bring a lot of more of these sessions. Have a good day. Have a great weekend, and like good preparations for quiz and everything. All the best wishes. Bye bye. Good night. Bye Bharvi. Bye Kunal.
Bye. Good night.